Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Chia Studios. Currently, I am a third year screenwriting undergrad student trying to post on YouTube for the second time in 5 years. So the last time I tried making videos, my high school counselor decided to try and expel me. So with that said, let's begin. As you probably guessed from the title, this video will discuss the image of Satan and why we should be imagining him as a scholar or a librarian in modern illustrations rather than what is commonly depicted of Satan, since Satan is usually depicted as this. So this eldritch creature is the most feared being among Christians, Jewish people, and others who don't like the idea of a monster who manifests all the evil sins of humanity, which is understandable considering how that evil kind of resonates within our communities, disguised as CEOs, political leaders, and environmentalists. Kind of. Well, some of them. So the origins of the devil, however, are a little convoluted. In Judaism, Satan wasn't, and usually isn't, a prominent feature in Hebrew stories. In fact, most of the time, Satan is commonly referred to regular human beings, and God is usually the one viewed as the being who could rain horror on humanity whenever it wanted. The Book of Job is probably the first encounter of the household name Satan, but it didn't get popular until, lo and behold, the mighty Jesus Christ was born. His name was, I think, Yosef, but I didn't do too much research. I looked at one paper, and anyways, so when the mighty Jesus was born, he marks a new era. So this new era came with a lot of violence, famine, destruction from Romans trying to conquer the world and everything that they could set foot on, which included the temple in 70 CE. This entire event prompted several religious writings to be produced about apocalyptic times and ultimately led to the New Testament of the Bible, which includes the use of Satan as the great adversary to God. So with the New Testament, we actually get a very interesting retelling of the creation that doesn't just have a snake as a snake in the Bible anymore. Instead, it's actually a really big symbol for the devil and his mischief that leads to the first human downfall. It's fall, but it's very common, and I don't know. I guess snakes are pretty devious, and that's why we have it in slang now. So, yay! The snake in the New Creation myth tells Eve the same exact dialogue that he did in the Old Testament. He says to her, "You will not die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be open, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." Now, let's overanalyze this one bit of a dialogue for a little bit. So, he says, "And you will be like God, knowing good and evil." He didn't have to tell her that, but I don't know why he does tell her that. If he really wanted Eve to just eat the fruit and get casted out of the garden along with Adam, then the serpent would have just said that she wouldn't die when she ate the fruit. Eve doesn't understand manipulation yet, and Adam doesn't have a reason not to trust his only wife. There's no one around. I don't think they have a system of distrust yet. But anyways, so theoretically speaking, Adam and Eve would have still eaten the fruit had the serpent just said that they wouldn't have died from eating it. In my opinion, I think the serpent wanted to help Eve out, and I think he saw Eve's curiosity and naivety and wanted to give her a little bit of truth of what he knew of God's plans, maybe just to sabotage them, but also because he was just like, you know what, I'm not really pissed, but I just kind of want to see where this goes. And then they got casted out of the garden. So, yeah. Let's see. The pursuit of hidden knowledge, along with the hubris of humanity, is probably what is actually manifested in Satan, and this being who's considered God's adversary should not be depicted as a sharp businessman or a very conniving snake or a guy with really big horns and red everywhere, but he should be depicted as a strict but encouraging professor or librarian, and here are 3 reasons why. 1, he's brutally honest. 2, he's willing to support and share his work with you, and 3, he is just has an eccentric personality, technically. Though The reason he's brutally honest is scholars are always seeking out the truth of the universe. They are hungry for knowledge and search for clues in the hopes of filling a void they've had since childhood. Now, Satan doesn't lie. He's a manipulator and cunning who uses the full range of human language to get what he wants, but he's never directly lied to anyone before. When humans go on a quest for knowledge, there is no reason to lie among your peers when you're all learning in a community. You have discussions on these topics like, when are the Martians going to invade Earth? Or why does water get wet? So that you can ideally engage in thoughtful conversation that can lead you to learning something new about yourself, like how idiotic you look when you're trying to convince your friends to start a timeshare with you. Satan is the same, but like a whole lot more brutal and kind of mean about it too. So he's willing to support and share his work with you. I have never seen a reiteration of Satan where he does not try to make a deal with someone. Sure, he's a slimy guy and will probably keep your soul in hell for all eternity once you guys shake hands, but at least he's supportive of what you want, which is good, because you cannot say that about God, who's a control freak and probably has an inferiority complex and is the reason everything's pretty weird all the time. Scholars and Satan are very similar to each other. They share their work with each other. They have conferences about advancements in medicine, economics, policy work, history, pretty much anything that involves at least a little bit more work. They are willing to trade with each other in exchange for insights on the research process, credentials, and or understanding the world just a little better. 3. He has an eccentric personality. Now, Satan is very persuasive and has a very intense vibe about him that makes you drawn to him. He doesn't like people. Scholars also kind of don't like other people. They're condescending in the way that they think they are above others. Satan is probably the same. As long as they have knowledge, they also have power. And, Satan has a lot of knowledge. If he's able to make a lot of deals and somehow help other people with whatever they want. And you know what? He's got a good sense of things. I don't remember what this reason was for, but I just remember that I just needed a third reason. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that I have to share about Satan. I just kind of don't like how media is always like Satan is a giant monster. Technically, Satan is supposed to be somebody who is trying to persuade you to go to hell, right? If he's trying to persuade you to go to hell, wouldn't it make more sense for him to be more nice dressing and slightly softer and like trying to seduce you with better knowledge? Because he's pretty good with words and he's very effective about that. He could be a political leader, but that just seems too easy. And I just think that Satan would work well as a librarian, because librarians have a lot of power. They got a lot of knowledge in various subjects. I think that he would do well in that. That's all. Now, a word from our sponsor. Thank you for listening.